What's up, Raiders? Bionic here. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. As promised, we are following up on my last one, which was the 5 major tips to improve your arena. I finished with the crowd control, so this video will be dedicated to exactly that, but more specifically the stun debuff. Why? Because the stun debuff is extremely powerful. If used correctly in the arena, can give you a big edge and help you win more battles, right? So in this video, we're going to look at the top champions for the stun debuff. We're going to use my tier list to do so, but obviously the stun skills rather are not all created equally, right? We know that you can have a stun that's a single target stun. We know that you can have one that's an AoE, and we have some that can be random. So instead, I'm going to focus on the ones, or the champions rather, that I believe have a good stun to start with, most probably an AoE stun, right? And then also have an excellent kit to be used in the arena. Now, don't get me wrong, some of these champions can also be used in the dungeons. They have other applications, but for the purpose of this video, which is the follow-up of the last one, it'll be focused around the arena. Once I'm done, you guys will have a better understanding of the stun debuff overall. You will also know my top 5 with some honorable mentions, but this may not be perfect. I am doing this to get your feedback at the same time. You guys have to keep me in check and let me know if I missed something crucial or if perhaps I missed some important champions. Now, I did not do all the rare champions, but most of the epics and most of the legendaries are definitely there. So anyway, let's get going because we've got a few things to cover. First thing we're going to do is basically remove all the single target stuns and the random stuns. Why? Because a random stun, first of all, is just exactly that. It's random. When you go into the arena, you cannot rely on the random ability of a skill working or not working, right? If an enemy team has a dangerous champion, you either want to control the stun or you want to try and stun across the board. So I'm really not a fan of the random. It might have some application somewhere, but for the purpose of this video, like I said, we're going to remove it, and then we're going to have a little bit less of the champion to deal with. Now, the single target stuns, right? Being single targets, some of them, for example, I believe it is Basilisk, what's his name? Yeah, this guy right here. We'll pull him up from the Lizardman faction, and this guy has a 100% chance to place a stun. You don't even need to increase his skill. This is great, but once again, it's only one target. When you're going into the arena, you want to ideally try to stun across the board. Therefore, I really believe that also these single target stuns do not really shine for this purpose. Same thing kind of like in the dungeons, right? You're going to use an AoE stun if possible. Faction wars might be a little bit different because you might be able to make a team that'll have a lot more CC, but in most cases when you go into the arena, you have maybe 1 or 2 champion that's really dedicated to providing some kind of hard crowd control like the stun. So here we go. Now we're down to about these champions, but which one of those kind of shine and why? Here's what I think. Number 5 is going to be Miscreated Monster, okay? He is 2 on this list, but like I said, don't pay too much attention to that. Why? Because, well, first of all, he's an epic champion, right? And he hits really hard, and the rest of his skill, which is basically the stun, but also a shield on a 3-turn cooldown. This is extremely strong. It makes him very viable in dungeons and also very annoying to deal with in the arena. For that reason, like I said, he's going to be number 5 on my list of stun champions. Back to the list. The next one, I believe, should be Basilisk Roanas. Anyway, this guy right here. I don't see a lot of him. I do not know if it's because he's either new or not being used a lot, but this guy definitely has a very interesting skill. Sorry, he's in the High Elves. It's basically this AoE right now, A3, which has a 75% chance to place a stun and also decrease each target's turn meter by 50% if the stun debuff is not placed, right? So this has a dual use, a very, very nice CC skill in general. The guy has a lot of speed, has a lot of attack, relatively weak in terms of HP, and also has a very hard hitting or nuking A2, right? As well as the A1, which hits pretty hard and has a chance to stealing 1 random buff and then blocking the buff. So very good CC champion in general. Like I said, I sometimes see him in the arena, but not that much. I think we should see more of him because his skill is very good overall. And back to the list for the number 3 champion, which I believe is one of the best AoE stun. It is going to be Big Un. Big Un is another champion that hits really hard, number 1. But what I really like about his kit is his multiple AoEs, right? His A1 is an AoE if it crits. His A2 is the AoE stun. Also has a chance to place the 50% decreased accuracy, which is in a sense a form of CC as well, right? It's only 50% chance for the stun, but still can be very effective. And then he's got an A3, which is another AoE, right, which decreases the turn meter by 25% and has a 30% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed. He's a little bit faster than the previous champion, which is always very, very useful in the arena, right? So I do see Big Un a little bit, but like Basilisk, not that much. Overall, a really good champion. So if you guys have him, definitely work on this guy. Alright, now moving up the list, next one is going to be Nethril. Nethril, another fantastic champion. I really like him all around. I wish I would have him, but I do not. Why is he so good? 3-hit A1 with the 5% poison, right? But what we're really looking at is this skill right here, the A2, which has a 75% chance of placing a stun once fully booked. If that does not land, then he places a 30% decreased speed. So very good skill overall, the highest in all the CC champions because it's 75% chance. Then he's also got this A3 right here, which has a 75% turn meter decrease aspect to it. Very strong, very good overall. What I do not like about Nethril, even though he has the highest percent chance to place a stun, is his low speed and also relatively low attack compared to the other champions we just covered, which are all attacked as well. Now, the first champion on my list, though, is very different. It is Trunda Gilt Mallet, and for obvious reasons. Now, Trunda hits probably the hardest of all the AoE champions, attack champions we've just covered, right? And I think that makes her very strong in the arena for that alone, because she hits really, really hard. Like, she can be a dedicated nuker, number 1. But her skill, if I understand correctly how it works and what I've seen in the arena, is that it's an AoE with a 70% chance to place the stun, right? It also places an HP burn on enemies under stun debuffs, but places an extra hit on enemies not under stun debuffs. I think I've seen her hit twice with this skill against my Foley, and that's a big problem because I trigger my Foley with the passive, and then this triggers instead. It's 2-hit, and it basically kills me. Like, it's so strong, and it's got the HP burn, which works very well with a Torment. Very fantastic skill overall. She also has a stun on her A1, if that's not, good enough already for you, which is a 60% chance after the second hit. Also, passive, which basically anytime she stuns enemy champions, she increases her own resist, and she has an insane amount of resist to start with. She has an insane amount of attack, she has a decent amount of speed, super high HP, so overall I think she's built specifically for the arena. Very strong champion. I see her in Platinum quite a bit, a lot more than all the previous champions we've just covered, and that is why she is number 1 on my list. Alright, so back to the list, and before I let you guys go, I will take the time to make an honorable mention to the following champions, right? We're going to have Fushan and Syl of the Drakes. I think these champions are very similar because they have almost the exact same skill, which is a 2-hit AoE with a 20% chance of placing the stun for 1 turn, so it's just a stun. Once booked, it's 35%, and then each hit has a chance to do it. So I think it's overall about a 56% chance to place a stun, right? And the newer champion that we are all going to get, Syl of the Drakes, which is defense, okay? That's a little bit different, but it's basically the same skill, okay? So very nice. It'll be a great start for everybody if you do not have a stun champion. And a champion like this, you can maybe put her in a stun set for even more effect, but basically any champion in a stun set is that much more effect, right? So we weren't really considering the stun set overall. And of course, we're also going to quickly talk about what's his name, Robar. Yeah, this guy can stun you till tomorrow because he has a chance for an extra turn in a relentless set, means he can literally go on and on and on with stunning champions. Very nice, but for the arena, like I said, a single target stun, in my opinion, isn't as good. And then we've also got another champion, and the reason I'm going to mention him is because, well, he was accessible. He's an attack champion. It's a 100% chance to stun once fully booked, right? And has a chance to stun for 2 turns instead, and that is Killian the Lucky, right? So it's a start. If you guys don't have anything else and you want to really work with the stun, then great. But hey, don't go out of your way to, let's say, work with a champion that isn't necessarily best in slot, because like I said, I think the AoE champions really shine way more than just single target or random stun champions. So guys, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you will enjoy this top 5 series, basically, right, of all the hard CC champions in the game. That was the Sun Champions. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will catch you guys later.